it is NHL lottery night, or properly termed, I guess you could call it the Connor Bedard sweepstakes evening. And we're going to find out when it's all said and done, when the ping pong balls are pulled, which team is walking away with this generational franchise-defining talent. Could we be seeing some shenanigans, though, inside that ping pong system? In more ways than one. I'll explain here in a few moments. But as I said before, though, I did call it the Connor Bedard sweepstakes, and it really is. All these teams are lined up hoping to get that number one ping pong ball that says you're bringing in this player who some have called the best draft prospect to hit the league since Sidney Crosby. Okay. Worst case, people are saying he's the best draft prospect to hit it since Connor McDavid. Now, if you think he's a better prospect than McDavid was coming out of the draft, and there's juice behind that ought to explain to you how good Bedard is. Hell, even if he's the best since McDavid, it's not like we've seen a bunch of turds, butt wipes, and ham and eggers hit the league. We've seen some real legitimate draft prospects coming down the pikes here in the last 5, 6, 7 years, and people think Bedard is better than them all. So it's crazy to think. But that being said, there are some other draft prospects here, especially in that top 5, that I am sky high on, and so are the league. Makhachev, to me, may be 1A in this draft when it's all said and done. I mean, I know there's some issues that people were worried about with him, but, if he goes number 2 overall, I think he's going to make, or wherever he goes, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoever gets him, I think is going to get a star player. I mean, I like his game a lot. Leo Carlson, I like his game a hell of a lot. I mean, so it's just, Will Benson. I mean, Will Benson's projected to go 5. And I'm telling you, he's good. There are some stud players that I honestly think in 4 of the last 6 drafts, any one of those other 4 would probably be in the running for the number 1 overall pick. Maybe not consensus, although there are a couple in here I think would be consensus, and a couple drafts I think they would be. But these guys are good, man. These guys are damn good. But Bedard is on another platform. He's on a whole different level. Which leads me to my topic at hand. Could we be seeing some shenanigans with the NHL draft? And believe me, if you don't think the league tends to tinker, and it's every lottery, tends to tinker with the balls a little bit to help teams out, you're not paying attention, okay? This happened in the NBA lottery. It happens in the NHL. It's not a new phenomenon. Lafreniere going to the Rangers, even though he hasn't worked out, that was a little bit of shenanigans, a little bit of magic work, so to speak. Hell, the Oilers getting McDavid. What's the chances of winning a lottery in multiple years? And the Oilers benefited from that more than anybody. They hit the lottery, 4 or 5 times in a row? Now, granted, some of these players were turds in a fucking punch bowl. Neil Yakov is the biggest waste in NHL history. I butchered his last name, but he was a bum. I mean, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been solid, not great, but you wind up getting just McDavid, who changes the entire outlook of your organization a year after winning a lottery before. I mean, come on. So here's my word to the grapevine, that what I've heard grumblings of, and that is that the Arizona Coyotes are going to walk out of tonight's draft festivities very, very, very happy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win the lottery. I get it. I mean, they could wind up with 2 picks inside the top 5, which they do, by the way, have 2 lottery picks. They got Deronin and they got the Ottawa pick. This leads me to believe, though, the way that these people have been emphatic in saying this, that could we see the Coyotes win that lottery and get the number 1 overall pick and get Connor Bedard? Could they wind up with number 1 and number 3, 4, or 5, which turns into a whole different animal? Make no bones about it. We all know that the Coyotes are facing some uncertain times. That's been the theme of their franchise for the last 15 years. I mean, since trucker Jerry Moyes and Wayne Gretzky led them into the dumpster pile of abyss that financially they're just now getting out of. I can't stress how shitty of a job that what Jerry Moyes did there, and Gretzky was along for the ride. I mean, it's criminal. If you look back at the story, and I ever write a book about this, it'll blow your mind, the shit that Moyes did. It really was. And the Coyotes still really, in a lot of ways, haven't recovered from it. The Glendale deal was not the best one from word go. I mean, it's one thing to put 8 regular season football games out there for the Cardinals when you play on, 6 Sundays, a Monday, and the occasional Thursday. It's a whole different thing to sell 40-plus games on Wednesdays and, Thursdays and Tuesdays. And I know hockey fans will make a way to go and distance doesn't matter, but I'm going to tell you, I lived in downtown Mesa. Okay. I lived right by the 101 and the 202, the 60. All these major highways were right at my disposal. And I'm telling you straight up, from work, when I went to work at the radio station right by Sky Harbor International Airport, by ASU, it took me 45 minutes to an hour on a relatively traffic-free road to get to Glendale, to get where, the Coyotes played, where the Cardinals played. And I made that trip a lot. It was not an easy one. And again, 45 minutes on a traffic-free road, the chances of that happening in Arizona are the chances of me getting drafted number 1 overall in this year's draft. There was always traffic. So it's a different thing to take people, for one game a week versus 4 or 5 when you've got to drive 3 hours both way, So that's where the Coyotes have struggled. And look, no nice way of putting it. They've been a dysfunctional clusterfuck of a franchise. They really have. So I'm going to give Bettman credit, though. He has done everything in his power to save this franchise. And before everybody bitches, he's done it with other franchises too, okay? Look at the number of relocations that have happened since the turn of the century. We know there was that mass exodus out of the smaller markets, and no, it was not just in Canada, ladies and gents. We lost the Hartford Whalers too, and they're never coming back. Okay, for a bit we lost to Minnesota. We lost Minnesota. They wound up moving to Dallas, wound up getting their team back. But it's a market-size driven game, and Bettman knows since the turn of the century has been very, very reluctant about relocating teams. The only one that happened was the Atlanta Thrashers, and let me tell you, you want to talk criminal activities, do a deep dive at what happened with Atlanta Spirit. What they did to the Thrashers was shameful. What they did to the city of Atlanta was pathetic and embarrassing, and I'm going to point blank say, these men shouldn't be in prison, but they should not be allowed within 500 feet of a fucking NHL arena ever again, or an NHL game ever again. It was sickening. And they didn't do any better by the Hawks. But the only reason that relocation happened is the Atlanta Spirit basically told the Thrashers, get the fuck out. You don't have a home next year. And there was no time really for them to explore options and find something for this team to play, and it was suitable. So here you got Winnipeg. Look, we got a place. It's yours. Take it. So bottom line is Bettman doesn't want to relocate franchises, and he's doing everything he can with the Coyotes. Now, I'm going to tell you, this shit's been going on since 2007, 2008. Okay? We're going on 15 fucking years of ineptitude, question marks, whirlwind. As much as Gary Bettman should be revered and held in the highest of esteem in the state of Arizona, and anybody that ever boos that man in a game, get your fucking head out of your ass. Believe me, this franchise would have moved a long time ago if it was the NBA. Believe me, it would have moved a hell of a long time ago if it was Major League Baseball or the NFL. I've seen franchises in much better situations than the Arizona Coyotes have been in leave their cities in the NFL. St. Louis Rams, okay? St. Louis lost their team, and believe me, you look at what St. Louis had going on in the NFL versus what the Coyotes have done in the NHL, it's night and day. San Diego, Oakland, okay? I mean, it's just, don't boo Bettman, because believe me, he's the main reason your franchise isn't in Seattle now or in Houston or Kansas City, because it could have and probably should have happened. But could this be his last grasp effort to try to save the team? Get this arena deal done in Tempe. As you know, it's on the voting docket here very, very soon. It's in the Sloan Park area on Rio Salado. Okay, right border of Mesa, Tempe. The highways are right there. And before anybody says, "Well, how's it going to fix the problems?" College students love hockey. Okay, the money people in the Valley of the Sun are in Scottsdale. They're in Tempe. They're in Phoenix, which it's a short hop, skip, and a jump from Phoenix to Tempe. That's not a massive drive. Okay, it's you got Chandler folks that are going to throw the money around. Their hope is they're going to get at least 10, 15, they're going to get 15 plus thousand people into this new one. And they plan on doing a big district of it. So it's on the horizon, though. And if this doesn't work out, I'm telling you this right now, if this deal gets voted down by the city of Tempe, the Coyotes are done. Gary Bettman's going to throw in the towel and say, look, we've done everything we can to possibly save this team above and beyond. But we have only so much patience. And look, we've got another market out there that's sitting waiting, another two markets that are sitting waiting out there. And spoiler alert, I hate to say this to you guys, those of you that are going to come jump on here and say Quebec City, It's not happening. I'm sorry, it's not. Okay? Quebec City, I don't think we'll ever get a team again. If this team moves, it's going to be to Houston, Texas. There's no 9/10 way around it. This team will be in Houston or Phoenix. That's it. Maybe Portland, but I'm saying 99% chance Houston if things don't work out in Arizona. But leading back to the draft lottery, could the league once again be stacking the deck in favor of the Coyotes? Could this be their last gasp effort to save the team? Draft lottery tonight. We all know what Connor Bedard is. Could, in their view, Connor Bedard be for them what Sidney Crosby was for Pittsburgh back in the day? Call it as it is here. But could they benefit twice? Follow my lead here. As you guys know, the Coyotes do have 2 first-round picks that are in this lottery. They've got their own and they've got Ottawa's. Could we see it to where not only do the Coyotes get the number 1 overall pick, but they get a top 5 as well from Ottawa? Would they stand pat and use that top 5? Absolutely not. And here's where it gets dicey, and here's where I could see the league stepping in. They get Bedard, and that second pick from Ottawa, whether it be, 5, 4, 3, 2, anywhere between, I'm saying between 4 and 2 would be the most likely. Could they turn it around and send it in a massive blockbuster package to the Toronto Maple Leafs for Austin Matthews? I mean, there's a dicey situation going on there with Matthews in Toronto. He's coming up on free agency, and he has been linked to the Coyotes almost from year 1 in the league. Could this be his outlet? Could the Coyotes turn around and trade that second first-round pick if it's in that top 5? I mean, if they wind up with 1 and 2, I'm going to tell you right now, this is likely to happen. If they wind up with 1 and 3, this is likely to happen. Even 1 and 4. Could the Leafs take that 2 through 4 pick along with a platitude of draft picks the Coyotes have? And God knows they've got multiple firsts. They've got multiple draft picks out their wazoo. That's why they've been the dumpster fire, the dumpster bin franchise for these players that are taking up roster space and never going to see the ice again. They've done this for years. The Coyotes have taken in every past their prime done player you can think of, but they've gotten draft picks in return. Could they turn around and trade some of those draft picks? We're talking, look, if it takes them 3, 4, 5 first-round picks along with number 3 to get Matthews, I don't think they would hesitate to do it. From a business standpoint alone, get Matthews, get Bedard, then you go to the city of Tempe and say, look, man, we got a generational talent here, a generational one in Connor Bedard. Okay, this guy will put the league on notice. You see what Sidney Crosby's done in Pittsburgh. You see what McDavid's done in Edmonton. He's going to do this here. Oh, by the way, we've got another hell of a young player who was pretty highly hyped coming into his own draft, who grew up a Coyotes fan up the road. Could this be the NHL's way of saving the Coyotes by stacking them with an elite generational talent and an already established top 5 player? Wouldn't surprise me. Pay attention. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys again soon.